Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea. Welcome back to another high level game of StarCraft 2. And today we have Rogue versus Dream. In the bottom right as the red Terran player playing for Team GGG, it's going to be Dream. In the bottom left as the blue Zerg player playing for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it's of course Rogue Rouge. Mr. Rogue himself, the man, the myth, the legend. Multiple-time world champion against Dream, who does not quite have such a title, but he's been working on it. He's been getting better. He's been improving, and he shows that he's capable of taking games of the best. He's shown that he's capable of taking series of the best as well. All that is left is for him to do this enough times in a row to actually win a championship. Of course, that tends to be the hardest part. And winning a series here and there and winning a game here and there tends to be doable for most professional players, but actually doing this on a consistent basis tends to be extremely difficult. First Overlord of Rogue moves straight away across the map. Second Overlord is in, well, a bit of an odd pattern here. Will not spot anything on the high ground, so any type of proxy 2-3 racks over here would have gone unchecked, but for now that is just not going to matter whatsoever, as, well, Dream just has the first barracks at home. Marine first opener though. So we see a switch up here from what is considered to be standard. With that quick Marine, fast factory as a follow-up most likely after that command center goes down. We'll have to wait and see exactly what it's going to be. There's a couple of options here for Dream. Could go for the reactor straight away, but more likely, to wait just a little bit. Get that factory first, and then later on get that reactor down the moment you can afford it with that next 50 gas you get after the factory. This allows for a faster factory than anything that can be played with a Reaper first, at least in this specific build order. So 12-13 second faster factory units will come out. Now, this could mean quicker Hellions. It could also just mean a quicker starport and thus a faster medevac. It could also cyclones, faster banshees. Anything that comes out of a starport or a factory is just going to hit the map slightly faster. That could be important. Rogue needs to kind of adapt to these timings in order to not die. In the past, I've seen the first two Hellions of a build like this often deal a little bit more damage because the Zerg is just that little bit confused. That's not going to be quite the case this time, as we are just going to be building a single Hellion here out of this factory. Starport is going down, and the most likely follow-up is just going to be, in my mind, like a triple Hellion drop, couple of Marines, 7 Marines in the medevac, 3 Hellions going by ground, and then you swap the factory with the barracks and you start some major Hellion production. That is often what we see out of these build orders. Now this SCV is going to get taken out, or at least, it's actually going to survive. Link speed is not quite done yet, and this Hellion will actually be capable of frying a couple of these links. Look at that. 5 links already going down, barely any damage on this Hellion. The 6th link also falls, and Metabolic Boost is finishing. Overlord Speed is on the way. Right now there's no third base yet, and Dream scouts that and thinks to himself, well, wait a second. You don't have a third base yet. What actually are you doing? What is it that you're trying to do? I think he spotted that drone and he sees the Queen's Walk. So he knows that something funky is going on. Fusion cores being thrown down as well over here. So Rogue is trying to get that information. Will not quite be capable of getting it yet, as there were a bunch of Marines in the main base. Oi, this Overlord's actually going to get taken out. That's the first Overlord that gets denied. And does manage to spot with that Overlord though that the factory and the barracks have not quite swapped yet. Which means that a Hellbat follow-up is going to be unlikely. Second Overlord is on the way in, and as the Marines are now on the other side of the map, I don't think another Overlord denial will be coming up anytime soon. This Overlord will just spot the fusion core being constructed right now. This will tell Rogue everything that he needs to know. He knows that it's going to be mech out of Dream. He throws down the Roach Warren the moment he scouts it. Overlord stays alive, and the first battlecruiser starts. The battlecruiser takes 64 seconds, and there's already 5 seconds gone, so it's an entire minute in which Rogue has the time to prepare. Adding more queens, adding spores, getting more drones, of course. Always going to be a good choice when you're playing against battlecruisers. Well, playing against anything, honestly. Getting more drones is almost always the correct answer. as we see gas 3 and 4 being taken. Now, gas 3 and 4 before any extra production facilities, it is the 100% confirmation that this is indeed going to be mech. And then, well, if that was 100% confirmation and the double factory is 1000% confirmation, it is just so clear what this is going to be. We're going to be watching some battle cruiser mech here. As a composition we've watched many times before in the past, with the armory on the way. Could go for a double armory. We'll most likely see a couple of tanks being produced out of these factories the moment they finish up and start building those tech labs. First battlecruiser is out. Might actually try and kill this overlord before it teleports across the map, and that's exactly what it's going to be doing. So another overlord goes down, and Rogue sees that it's indeed a battlecruiser, not going to be something weird like Liberator range out of the fusion core. Technically possible, although somewhat unlikely. Oh, Dream actually is not daring to blink in. Does he believe that this was a spire, a quick spire perhaps? I do believe that's what he thinks. Well, in that case, it's going to be a little bit from now until that battlecruiser arrives on the other side of the map. Of course, we'll be capable of teleporting back home. Spires getting thrown down, as well as the Glio reconstitution. We're looking into perhaps a little bit of a Roach Corruptor timing, or just a Roach Corruptor defense, of course, is also something that is completely viable to play. You don't always have to do a timing. You can just go into a macro game with a very high worker count. For now, 5 Roaches being produced off of 70 drones. Gold base is about to finish up. Then we'll see what Rogue's plans are going to be exactly, as these 2 drones, well, they're gonna make it the number go up to 72, but it's not much of an indication of what's actually going to happen. The next big wave of larvae, yeah, there we go, okay, 10 drones. That's exactly what we needed to know. It's either going to be units at this point, or it's just going to be lots and lots and lots of drones. And it seems to be lots of drones, at least for now. This battlecruiser takes out another overlord. It's just basically been kind of functioning as a massive phoenix, a very expensive phoenix, taking out overlords while shooting automatically. It's what my phoenix does as well, except that one only costs 150 minerals and 100 gas. Not the most useful battlecruiser yet. Of course, it does have some perks later on in the game as well with that Yamato cannon. Just every minute or so it is capable of shooting 1 unit out of the sky. Ooh, it's Mutalisk here. This is surprising. This comes as a complete surprise to me, and I do believe that this will come as a complete surprise to Dream as well. 9 Mutalisk. If these Mutalisk manage to make it into a base... Well, there's turrets going down. I was going to say, into an empty mineral line, and the BCs are out of position, they could deal a lot of damage, but honestly, like this? I don't know. You see a scan here, only sees queens. Yamato not quite done yet. The mutas are going to fly around, exactly what I said would happen. Sadly, there's just going to be a turret ready for them. So these bad boys will not be capable of dealing too much damage, honestly. So we already have 1-1 on the way. We have the mech field accelerator, that's what it's called, of course. And the turret is going to be extremely helpful here. Part of this mineral line is not quite protected, though. That's where these mutas are just going to hang around. No, turret actually doing a fair amount of damage. 7 workers will fall. Another turret in the natural will help out as well. The cycle is not quite with enough range here. Another decent... actually, this is good. This is a really good defense. Oh my god, I thought it was just going to be decent, but this is fantastic. Dream already had a really high worker count. Losing 20 workers sucks, don't get me wrong. He much rather would have kept those 18 workers alive. But he did manage to kill, I think it was 9 or 10 Mutalisk. 9 Mutalisk, that's 1800 resources down the drain. 20 workers, oh, that's also a lot of resources. It's 1k. Yeah, but it's just minerals, so I don't know. I kind of don't mind it too much here for Dream, honestly. Supplies are, well, not completely equal. So you see Rogue pretty far ahead. You could say that it has something to do with the fact that he just killed 22 workers. But I also think it has something... Hello? Excuse me? What was that? Oh, it must have been a misclick. He just biled into 4 random locations. And one of those random locations was on top of his own Ravagers. Surely that's incorrect. What was I gonna say? I was in the middle of a sentence when I cut myself off. I hate it when people do that. Well, it doesn't matter. Ah, right, it was the early game maybe. That's what I was gonna say. I think the main point was the early game here. That was quite poor out of Dream. Just allowing Rogue to get to whatever worker count that he wanted to. And then add in a gold base on here on Blackburn. Rogue is just on a fantastic economy. Like, let's Let's just face it. A couple of these tanks are going to stack up onto one little pixel. As Dream accepts the challenge of most tanks on one pixel for the Guinness Book of World Records. One of these battlecruisers almost manages to fall, and 4 or 5 tanks here are going down as well. Cyclones on the high ground will manage to push back these Corruptors. Is it only 2 BC? It's only double BC. This is a very low battlecruiser count. The minimum amount we usually see is 3 to 4. Well, 3 is the minimum amount, and then most of the time people go up to 4. We sometimes see a 5th one being added, especially against swarm host compositions, but yeah, not quite the case here. Low battlecruiser count, Vikings on the way right now. I mean, cool, I guess, but like, what you getting Vikings for? To protect the 2 battlecruisers? That doesn't seem super worth it. Maybe it's just to deal with Vipers in the future, of course. That could also be the case. There's a lot of opportunities here. There's a lot of things that could be happening. A lot of questions that haven't been answered yet. And Dream really needs to start thinking about answering those in the near future. Like, what is the actual plan here for Dream? Okay, there we go. Ghost Academy, 2 extra barracks. So copying that style that we've seen Ryang, Maru play a lot at Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. We saw them always go for these early, what is it? I think it's 5 to 8 factories usually. Okay, it's actually just 5 factories. 5 factory opener into triple barracks Ghost. This is something that Ryang and Maru were super keen on. Ryang actually not at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, but before I've seen him play it a fair amount. And Maru played it a bunch at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, and also before. And I know that both Ryang and Maru talk a lot with one another. Be weird if they just one guy would be talking with the other. They would just ignore him constantly on Discord. Yeah, that would not be a nice thing. That's my working relationships with some of the professional StarCraft 2 players in Europe, but that's not the case with Ryang and Maru. No, they're good friends. They share a lot of strategies. It's cool to see Dream kind of taking over that Ghost strat as well. It's a very powerful strategy, and one of the cool things that I like about it, and it's just a minor detail, is the fact that they always get the infantry armor level 1 first over the attack upgrades on the Ghost. Because the Ghost, the auto attack, is not what's going to be making the difference. It will be the snipe. The snipe is the main damage output for the Ghost. So rather than saying, hey, I want slightly more damage on my auto attack, they just say, I want my Ghost to stay alive so I can snipe more. That's why they get the armor first. And you'll see him go up to +2, +3 armor before getting that +1 on the infantry weapons. Just a cool little fact there. Really, it's probably not going to be game changing in majority of the games, but it does make a little bit of a difference in those fights. In maybe keep 1 or 2 extra Ghosts alive. At the end of the day, a Ghost a fight, like a Ghost a day, keep the Zerg away, as the saying goes. So we'll hope that's the case here as well for Dream, as he's kind of struggling here with the terrain, which is weird because this map has been in the map pool for a while. He's just really struggling keeping this gold base together. These Thors are all clumping up. The tanks are not sure where they want to be. Good Yamatos there out of these battlecruisers, by the way. There's not a single Viper in this army. Rogue often plays without Vipers. It is just this odd little thing where he doesn't really seem to like them as much as the other Zergs do. I've watched him play like a freaking 30-minute game the other day. Late game, TVZ, in which he didn't build a single Viper. I was like, whoa, that's kind of wild, honestly. A couple of tanks are going to be sieging up right now. Thors will also take a couple of these pile hits straight to the face. Baneys will connect with these SCVs, but that's not the end of the world here for Dream. Dream gets a decent trade. He actually does get a decent trade. You see resources lost. Rogue is down by about 6k. And more importantly, the backbone of this army is still kind of alive. Like, sure, a lot of units did die, but there's a decent amount of Thors, there's a decent amount of Ghosts. He has a well-balanced army. The only thing we're lacking is perhaps in the tank count, but then we see 3 tanks over here, 1 tank over here. It's 4 tanks total. It's a little bit too low. You know, I'll give Rogue that. Rogue did a good job denying the tank count from getting too high, and now he's rebuilding a lot of these roaches. Tank gets taken out by a couple of biles. Good control on these biles, by the way. Very cute. The battlecruiser does teleport back home. There's a little dancing party here near the tanks. They were blocking up all the space with their fat butts. 3 more tanks are on the way. Infantry armor level 2 as well here, as more ghosts are being produced. Do we have any medevacs with this army? We have 1 medevac. The ghost count is rising to 13 now. That is a sizable ghost army. That really is a sizable ghost army. Look at that. 4 Hellion harass over here. It's not going to be able to achieve anything, but I like the thought. You know, sometimes it's not about achieving something. Oh, not enough tanks here. These ghosts are in a bit of trouble. Cloak needs to be used. Planetary is going to get taken out 100%. There's already another command center waiting, though. He says, no, this command center is actually going to fly towards the bottom side. And I'll keep an orbital over here. So Dream very confident in this position and being capable of keeping it without a planetary. And the orbital, of course, has this massive perk in that you can lift it. So if 35 banelings roll in, you can just lift the base, and these banelings are like, well, crap, what now? And there's not that much they can do very often. Go slightly out of position, but these Ravagers are all going to get sniped down. 1, 2, 3. Couple of Corruptors are also going to fall here. Well, a lot of Corruptors are going to fall here. Good snipes coming out of Dream. These stores should be taking the brunt of the baneling damage. Go stay alive. This was a fantastic fight once again. Down 10k. In the unit's lost tab currently is Rogue, as a bunch of creep is going to get denied. This bottom side base has not mined whatsoever yet. And this doesn't strike me as the game in which Dream is going to get broken in the next 2-3 minutes. And as I say that, he starts moving on the map and starting to scare me a little bit. He's feeling, well, very confident in his position currently. I like people that feel confident in their position, but I also like that if you have a kind of a formula that works, the camping formula with these tanks, with these ghosts, with these Thors, you don't have to change it. You can just stay home, buddy. It's all good. I don't care. You do you. That is completely fine. There's a lot of orbital commands here as well. 9. Oh my god. 8 workers being produced at a time. What is the worker count that Dream ideally would be going for here? I think it would still be slightly higher than just the 60. You see some undersaturation here. This base is practically done mining. Some slight undersaturation in this base, and we don't have any mining going on over here either. Some workers that are done in the main. Maybe some workers that will be done here soon as well. Maybe it's fine. 50 to 65 workers right now might actually just be enough. As another command center is finishing up, and that will allow Dream to, once this creep disappears, finally take his 6th base, I guess this would be. Yep, would be a 6th base. Rogue's actually going to attack into this off creep right now. Not a lot of tanks in positions. Ghosts also weren't here. No mines to back this up. Cloak. Well, Cloak, but Baneling still explode on top of all of these ghosts. Not a single overseer with this army, by the way. This is a fantastic fight here. So you missed the end part of the fight. A lot of these ghosts will stay alive, and it's not the most efficient fight. This was a fight that I think was minus 2k. Rogue already was down 10k, but a lot of the ghosts have been damaged. There are no medevacs here. That's going to change quickly, though. So once these medevacs come out, I guess all of these ghosts are just going to get healed. It's 21 ghosts. I really do believe we're lacking some type of splash, though. There needs to be at some point something that can stop these banelings while the ghosts are running back home. You can't always rely on there being no overseers in this army. That is not a viable plan. So a bunch of changelings actually move in. And this is going to provide a lot of free vision for Rogue, who, because of that, can just set up the perfect engagement. 43 more banelings on the way as well. This massive ghost mech army is looking scary. And it's especially scary because once it maxes out, you have, about 10 supply in the factories, and there's 10 more supply left over. So 20 more supply here, and you actually have a massive army. It already is a massive army. Tanks are in good positions. No target fire on the banelings, though. Ghost moving back. Hellbats being morphed as well. No splits on these Hellbats whatsoever. Auto attack of the Ghost is not quite good enough to deal with all of these banelings. Can we get a cloak? No, we don't need a cloak, as I don't even think this planetary is going to fall. There's not that much money in the bank left right now for Rogue. His income is still fantastic. His gas bank is wild as well. And Rogue is going to change pace and says, hey, what's kicking off here on the top side of the map? There are 4 tanks somewhat in position. One of those is going to get taken out pretty quickly. Still 1 tank remaining, as the bile cooldown is low enough that they're going to be capable of going back soon. No, ghosts are arriving on the scene, and they will be capable of saving the day, at least for now. 3 more tanks being built, and that should be for this forward position. Repair on the planetary would not be a luxury. Very close to burning down right now. 15 more Banes on the way as well. What is this? We have a pure, practically a hatchery tech army. Still not a single Viper has been built here. Yeah, not a single Viper. Lots of Corruptors have been built and have died as well. Tanks were not quite sieged up though. This time the Banelings might just be capable of connecting with these Ghosts, and oi 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 oi, Dream gets caught off guard for 1 second. No siege on those tanks. Ghost not in the ultimate position, and Rogue finally manages to break him in a game that could have actually gotten extremely close, because Dream was already setting up to take this bottom base. We had that extra command center already building, but it just was not enough for Dream. Did not manage to hold, did not manage to live, and thus Rogue manages to take the win. Alright, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye.